Press Start Podcast.
Welcome back, gamers and geeks, to another live episode of the Press Start Podcast. This is episode number 107, and I'm your main host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. And today we got an incredible show lined up for you, but I'm not alone with a virtual adventure. Joining me as my two co-hosts, first up is Scoby1.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
And on the other side here, we got Lunatic Oblivion.
Hey guys, how are you doing today? Been a while.
Yeah, man, it's been a long 2 weeks here. Just waiting to get this show up and going again. Obviously, for given reasons, because I finally got to bring my daughter home, and she's been home for a little over a week now. So that's been exciting and an adjustment to get used to, nonetheless.
Definitely.
But it definitely beats going back and forth to the hospital for sure. But so we got a little bit changes here to our podcast this week. We're gonna kind of skip out on what we've been playing and upcoming game releases because we want to dive right into Starfield. Starfield's been out for I would say 2 weeks, I think, give or take, and we just wanted to give our first impressions and probably going to circle back in a couple of months and give us maybe a review as maybe a separate episode, maybe not tied in directly to the podcast, but we'll kind of see how that goes. So let's move in here to talk about Starfield. Roger, I'm gonna kick it to you because I know you probably had the most playtime. You started playing it even during the early access period of as well. How's it been playing for you? Anything stick out to you? Anything that's not working? Any glitches, stuff like that?
Honestly, I've only so anyone who said that the game isn't glitchy or has no glitches in the first 15 hours is wrong. The game is super glitchy and I see it all over the place that a lot of these visual bugs are just highly prevalent. Like, for example, NPCs or your comrades without spacesuits, or people walking through walls, or just general it wouldn't be a Bethesda game if people didn't have these massive glitches. And I'll walk into a room sometime and some of the scenery will be like, oh shit, I am here, aren't I? And explode all over the place. And you're like, okay, all right, this is cool, I guess. But honestly, I came to expect that from a Bethesda game. And as I played more and more into the game, I found the story to be fun. I found all the different unique sort of side stories to be relatively interesting. Some of the copy and pasting gets a little annoying at times because you walk in, you're like, okay, I've been in this same exact laboratory 4 times. What doors are locked and unlocked this time? And it's a little bit different every time. One time they had a frozen version of the laboratory, so parts of the laboratory were just filled with ice caves, and it was like, okay, this is actually new, interesting, and it changed how I navigated because I had to go up through a ceiling in one room because the ice pushed me that way. It's fun. There's a lot to do in Starfield, and I think the biggest qualm I have with the game, though, the glitches, the bugs, they don't bother me because it just adds to the fun of a Bethesda game a lot of the time. The thing that truly gets me is just sometimes the repetitiveness and the lack of answers on questions. Starship design isn't straightforward sometimes. What does this room look like? I don't know. You'll have to buy it and check it. And it's I don't want to do that. I don't want to buy this room and then walk into it to find out that I'm just going to sell it and then sell it for a fraction of the price. I think Starship design could use a lot of work, but it's really cool. As a editor on the top level, it's really cool. But when you go inside your ship, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Just piece some shit together.
And you don't get any rhyme or reason what doors will or won't be open in the ship. So if you put 2 rooms next to another one and you put it's a 2x1 and you put the front of 2 of them next to the back of another one, you don't know which one's going to have an open door into it and which one's not going to be. The ladders on the inside can be a little clunky, and some of the design can as well. But honestly, it's really, really advanced for what it does. It's a really enjoyable experience. I think the planet exploration can get really boring really fast, in my opinion. I feel like it's just No Man's Sky all over again, where it's like, okay, land, what do we got here? I look around, okay, cool, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah. So yeah, the
Yeah,
whole planet, like scanning the different things on the planet, which is very similar to No Man's Sky, like you said. But I think what they do is one up it is the ability to, once you completely like fully scan a planet, you can actually sell that information to different people in the world that are
yeah,
collecting that stuff to like build world galaxy maps, I guess per se. So it kind of like gives you like a purpose to do it, as opposed to the No Man's Sky. You're just doing it
to do
just
it.
cause. Yeah, like there's no purpose behind it, which I thought was pretty cool. Before I start giving my rundown, I just wanted to rattle off some of the news in regards to Starfield before I swing it over to you, Scott, and your playthrough. So interesting thing that came across my news here was saying that some players started protesting the game really quickly because you had the ability to choose your pronouns, and I was just like, what? Why
Who
are we
fucking
yeah,
cares?
like just choose he or he him, whatever you
And
want to be, and
and a
call it a
lot of
day.
people and a lot of people decided that that was gonna ruin their day.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
We just got to loop around, back to the people call liberals, crybabies, but at the end of the day, we're not the ones protesting the fact that I have to choose that I'm a he him. I've got a penis. Like, who cares? I
Right.
don't choose a pronoun, bro.
I'll
Right.
stand up in front of the Xbox right now, just hang dick, just so it knows.
Just so
I,
it knows.
I still think
I
it's
am
funny.
he him. Okay.
One of the funniest things that I did find about that though was like obviously like okay, first off, if having to pick a pronoun hurts you, like sorry.
Yeah.
Deal with it. But my favorite counter argument was that was like it's like 1% of the game. It doesn't do anything. It's
It
fine.
has no
Like,
impact to it. Yeah.
Even.
you don't
You-
worry about it. And then
Yeah.
so they made a mod to just remove that part, and people lost their collective shit.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then the mod community hosting all the Starfield mods was like, "Yeah, we're not gonna host
Like
this
we're
mod.
not doing
Sorry,
that. It's like,
guys,
yeah,
it's not allowed here." And they were like, well, "What do you mean?" And I was like,
dude, it was
Yeah.
so
"Hey, man,
funny.
Yeah, it's
Just
mind
watching
blowing.
because they're like it's a super small part of the game. It doesn't matter. And they're like, okay, cool. I'm just
it's
gonna edit
so
that out.
minor."
I'm gonna edit that out because that bugs me personally. And they're like, you can't fucking do that. They're like, no, you go fuck yourself. I just thought that whole fucking situation was hilarious.
I just the fact that it became a problem, in my opinion, is just so stupid.
Yeah, I
dumb.
definitely agree. Other news here. Officially, Starfield is the biggest Bethesda game launch of all time. It had over 6 million players at launch. I mean, even the early access was breaking like astronomical numbers in my opinion. Like it broke like 300,000 or 400,000. I think it got up to like what, five or somewhere around there, 500,000 people. And these were people that paid the extra 40 or
Yeah.
$100 to play it early. And I was just like, that shit is just mind blowing. And I was just like, I can't justify paying that money to play it a couple days early. So,
Yep.
because I didn't know if I was even going to have the chance to play it to begin with, so it wasn't worth my money. But on top of that, it was the number one United Kingdom boxed chart, despite it being on Game Pass. The fact that it became the number one selling physical game in a country that does really well in gaming, but it's free on Game Pass, but motherfuckers went out and bought this shit. And I'm just like, they're just raking in the dollars. Raking in these fucking dollars right now.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's breaking records, like it should, because the population of the Earth is always increasing. So like you should always have more than your last game, but 6 million is quite a bit, and it's good to see.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So enough news. I'll cover a little bit more here in a second. So Scott, how was your playthrough been? Any glitches? Are you enjoying it? Are there stuff that you're not really enjoying at all? Tell me about it.
Worst Fallout ever that I've played. Just in general. No, it's not that bad. It's like you said, like some of the stuff is just really gets really boring really fast, and it was immediate for me. And some of like the planet exploration and like the scanning, things like that. Like I said, I don't have that many hours into it. I think I have like 2 or 3 so far. But I know other players who were like me where it took them like maybe like 6 or 7 hours to really get into it. But so far, I mean, it looks great. I've had no real issues with bugs, anything like that. Their faces creep me out. that's that's really one of the other ones. And I'm still waiting for my adoring fan to show up. I haven't come across him yet. That was one of the perks that I went with was the adoring fan. I have to. You can't not do it. But yeah, I've been having fun. I've also been just really been trying to push Baldur's Gate 3 and be done with that, at least for the first run and playthrough, so I can give more time to Starfield. But
Right.
yeah, I've been getting hurt in that as well.
What was your background that you chose?
I did the. What did I do? I did the.
What about you, Roger? While he thinks about it.
What
I
was
chose scientist.
Okay.
I think I went with survivalist, or just the normal, the one that gave you, well fitted or like conditioned, the gunslinger for ballistics, and then the
Is that soldier?
no, it was like a mix between the.
Oh no, there's like 30 of them to choose from. I can't
Now
remember.
now I have to pull it back up. It was the one for health and med packs, I think it was, and then ballistics, and then like the well conditioned for like the oxygen use.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, my choice was the space scoundrel, and I've been trying to like role play. Like all of my decisions have been trying to be around being this space scoundrel. Because even like the brief description says good, bad. Who's right to say? Because I screenshotted the page. It says if there's anything you've learned while tracing through the galaxy, it's this space. It may look black, but it's really one big shade of gray. And it's just like I've been trying to teeter on that line of doing good stuff, but then also doing some bad shit, and just kind of just maneuvering through the galaxy however I see fit. And like I see my decisions reflect because like some of the choices I make, the companions like, ooh, I didn't like that, and then some of them are like, oh yeah, I like that one. So I can tell it's just like she's like, I don't know if I like this guy or not.
It took the empath, and I'm trying to be a good guy. I'm trying to do good things. I'm like, I'm playing a charisma character, and I'm like, I'll make a decision. She's like, why would you do that? And I was like,
Because I'm playing
not?
the game, bitch. Shut up.
Why not? And then it's like, empath, get fucked. And I was like, oh, great. My perk fucked me again.
Yo.
Like, every choice, I'm like, this should be the good thing. And they're like, you chose empath. Get fucked, nerd.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you're an asshole.
exactly.
You feel like shit now.
I do hear that Vic likes to talk mad shit to the NPCs.
Yeah, Toph is in there every stream, man, and he just hears me just telling him like I'm in the game, like what the fuck, man, like oh really? Because like some people be saying some stupid shit. I'm like, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that, and then like later on they're like, oh, I want to do it. And I'm like, oh really? Now you want to do it, huh?
Now you
Like,
wanna fuck you,
yeah,
dude. Get outta here.
fucking piece of shit.
Some of the fucking dialogue, dude, like, it just, you walk in and people are saying some real dumb shit, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? Just like, where does this dialogue come from? Who wrote this?
Right. So
You look like the perpetrator. No, you look like the perpetrator. No, you look like the perpetrator. No, you look like the perpetrator.
so Scott, any more any glitches for you in your 2 hour
haven't-
experience that
I
you're still in
haven't
the
I haven't
tutorial?
come across anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Nothing even really remotely noticeable.
Yeah.
To be honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, it's unless for some reason I'm the only lucky person.
Right.
Honestly, people are complaining about like frame issues on PC, and I'm like, honestly, the Windows version's running great for me. Like the Game Pass version runs pretty smooth. I've only had 2 crashes. And
Yeah.
honestly, I've had more crashes on a Steam game that I've been playing instead lately.
Right. So
Yeah, I've had no crashes, nothing like that. No frame issues. Looks great, feels great, runs smooth.
Right,
Which
and that's
is
the
what I
crazy
kinda
part
expect.
is the fact that the biggest thing going into this was it was on console. It was locked at 4K 30 frames per second, and I'm playing this on the Series X. But I've actually played this a few times on my PC, and it runs just as good. Obviously, it just doesn't look as great as the high fidelity difference. Like you can definitely see the difference between 1080p versus 4K, but the frames have been pretty solid. Like I haven't had any frame drops, not at all. The game's been running exceptionally smooth, and I agree with you guys. This game looks impressive. Like it graphically looks really good. The character models, they can look good, but like when you're actually conversating with them and like their like facial structures don't line up with the emotions that they're trying to pursue. Whatever, trying to dropping a ball here on the words.
Present.
Yes,
Portray.
present, yes, thank
Portray.
both of those words work. But the great example, I was in the conversation because I was doing like helping these miners out on
Mars.
no, yeah. So down there, I was helping them all out and
Yep.
trying to get their equipment and whatnot. And when I got to this one lady, and she's like talking to me, and she starts coughing, but like she's talking to me like a normal person, doesn't even go like nothing. It's just like it doesn't show any emotions that she coughed.
Oh, it's because that's why I said. That's why I say when it comes down to their faces creeping me out because they get right up in your face, like you zoom in, and then they're just like they're talking to you, and they're just like yeah.
My
and then
favorite Uh, my favorite is when you get into the
And, like,
cutscene and the NPC does this.
Another touchdown,
how you
Brian
doing
Robinson. Yeah, they don't turn around, which is
You're
interesting.
like, all right, bud, cool. The back of
Yeah.
your head looks awesome.
That's
Love
exactly
it.
what it is. That's exactly what it is, Toph. It's
4K
fucking
Oblivion.
It's Oblivion faces.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it
But
is. It's
but
just so
this like
creepy.
fits into what a Bethesda game is. Like I could sit here and talk about this game all day because I've been journaling my experience. Like part one, this date, how long I played, and blah blah blah. But some of the glitches I dealt with was this is one glitch here. When I met Sarah for the first time, when I joined the Constellation and I was in that room, and when I was done talking to them in the center of the room, and I was going to explore the upstairs, and I like walked by Vasco, and I like clicked on him by accident, and I kept walking, but then it like triggered a conversation with him, but I've already went around the wall, so it had me turn around and talk to him through the wall, so I couldn't
Yeah.
even see him, and I'm like, this is fucking broken. Like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, that was one of the first ones that kind of was like, okay. And then one of my other playthroughs, when I was like taking off from one of the planets, I seen a person just standing underneath where my jet flames are, just taking off. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that person would have died, but it's a video
There was
game.
no screaming. Why? I don't know.
So I was like, okay, okay, I got it. That makes sense. And then another one was like when I was having a conversation with the Governor Hurst on Mars, um, and I had Sarah behind me, but she didn't come the whole way around the corner to have the conversation with us. So I'm having a conversation, but then when it transitions to talk to her, she's like on the outside of the building, so it's like trying to talk through seven walls, and you still can't see her. And I'm like, it's just little things that are just like that. It's not game breaking, but it's like you're breaking the immersion that I'm trying to
Yeah,
have in this game.
and that's the glitches I'm talking about, is where like it's not destroying my game, but it definitely just takes me out of the experience, and I'm
annoying,
just sort
yeah.
of like this. This game doesn't feel like an RPG to me. It doesn't feel like a true RPG where I'm in it. Like we'll talk about it later, but like Sea of Stars, me and Jordan we were in tears, through that game. But like this, I'm just sort of like press, click, go, keep moving, keep playing, whatever. It just doesn't feel like I'm in the game yet. Like I just feel like I'm on an errand simulator.
I will 100% second that because it feels like I'm just going through motions.
Yeah, I mean, but you're. I think we're all still kind of early on, especially you, Scott. You only got 2 hours in, and I only have 7 hours into the game, and I know I'm still early on. Like I haven't like explored any planets. I've been just trying to do like some missions here and there, and it's like these missions can go on forever, and like it's a
Yeah.
choice. Like these side missions are really really in depth.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome. Like the side content is there. It is truly immersive. It's awesome. And I'm not sure what quests to do sometimes.
Yeah, well, the problem, like, I'm branched off so far right now. You go to the UC Vanguard. I don't know if you done this mission
I
yet, 'cause
finished UC Vanguard's storyline, and that shit was awesome. I actually had fun with that. I really, really liked the experience.
well, that's good to hear because I haven't finished it. I literally went to the UC Vanguard, joined them or whatever, and then I had to go to the one planet where you've run into your first Terramorph, and you were trying to get the equipment or whatever, fix it.
That should have been my first Terramorph. It was my second by mistake. I was like,
So-
remember when I told you about the creature that walked in a wall around me?
Yeah, yeah.
The first day I played, that creature followed me in. Didn't know what it was, but I was like, this is cool. These are some scary looking aliens.
Yeah, it was-
Turns out it was my first Terramorph within 30 minutes of starting the game.
Ooh,
I had the exact same experience
was
when you
like,
land.
what?
I landed and I was like, okay, well, there's
How
clearly
did I
like
explore?
a quest. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go over this way.
You went
And I
to
was
the right,
and
you went up
and I
over the
went
hills.
to the right, and I
With the
hear
crash
arguing
ship.
and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I just see this body fly and then land back down. I was like, I'm gonna see what that is. Sure. And then I get over there and Terramorph. I'm like, oh, that seems interesting. Kills the
not
fucking
fun.
kills
So-
the fucking robot. Fucking kills me. I was like, oh,
But
okay.
But they continue the story here though with the UC Vanguard, right? So I got there, went to fight my first Terramorph, and when I went back to turn in the sample, I completely never went back there because I got arrested for doing something. I don't know what I did, trying to figure out what the hell happened. Then I was sent on to I have to do this mission or I'm going to get jail time. So I was like, well, fuck, now I'm getting blackmailed. And then it just triggered this like whole line of missions. And next thing you know, I'm on Mars. I'm going through Mars. Now I'm in the mines. I'm trying to do the mines. And then I don't know if you guys rescued Percival yet. If you, I'm not sure if anybody has done that yet. But I started doing that mission and then another mission. I'm like, but this all started with the UC Vanguard mission, and I have still have yet to go back to yet.
Yeah,
It's
honestly,
ADHD the
don't
game.
don't dig super hard into one storyline because the content will outlevel you,
Hmm.
and it does feel good to just spend some time just fucking off and doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
Kind of figure out how you want to build your character. I think the worst part about this game is that the base building mechanics are locked behind skill trees. And like I find myself like, well, I'm gonna need 30 points alone just to buy most of the base building mechanisms that I want to build these bases. And I'm like, well, how do I progress through the game if all I'm doing is unlocking base building?
Right. Yeah,
That's fair.
it's definitely interesting. And then the other
Yeah.
issues that I know a lot of people are having is the encumbrance issue, which Bethesda games are known for it anyway.
Yeah.
But like you have to invest so many skill points into your ability to carry more stuff, and then like you apparently get to a point like you're going to start running out of space to store shit, whether it's your ship, your house, your companions. Like you're really going to run out of space, which is isn't a problem for me yet. But overall, I want to say like the gunplay has been great. The I've been enjoying the story. Like even the branching stories have been phenomenal in my opinion. I've been really enjoying this. It gives me big Mass Effect vibes because like spoiler alert, I mean if you don't want to hear this part, but the beginning of the game when you're in that mine and then you touch the artifact and you have this full-blown vision, I'm like I just beat Mass Effect 1 not that long
Yeah.
ago. And that's exactly what happens in Mass Effect 1. You touch
Mhm.
the Promethean artifact, I had this crazy ass vision and now I can speak their language and know everything else under the sun.
Yeah.
So I'm like I can see that.
Plagiarism's the true crime here.
Yeah.
Like Starfield is a mashup of so many different games, but then the Terramorph, that shit, like if they're going to build like some like horror elements out of that, like imagine getting hunted by a Terramorph in like some
Well, the
levels.
fact is, like, the Terramorphs are really cool. Wait till you get later and see some more of them. But my favorite is the Terramorphs literally invade your mind. You hear shit when you fight them. That's cool to me. I think it could set up for a lot of cool stuff. And I don't know, maybe there are some really good horror scenes because, like, Fallout, for example, did it really well. And shout out to Brosidon here who had an opinion in chat. I agree. This feels like a space Fallout, and I hope that I get those events like fighting zombies, like the zombies from Fallout underground in the dark. That shit was fun. Like that shit was horrifying at times because you're just like you're doing something and all of a sudden you just get slapped and right there's three of them in your face and you're like, "Oh god." Like the Terramorphs feel that, like I could feel that from the Terramorphs. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, I definitely foresee with the Terramorphs at some point somebody, I don't know if it's gonna be in chat or here, but somebody will absolutely shit my pants. If they, if they
but
pull that
someone
forward-
shit him.
So I just
if
want
I'm in
to
this dark ass cave and a Terramorph pops out.
someone give you
It's gonna be
a couple
the
more
coolest
point here
part ever.
before I give the last bit of Starfield news as well is even some of like the whole like mini game aspects of Starfield, like the lock picking. I love that mechanism. It's not over the top. It's not too much. It's pretty quick and easy, but it gets a little bit challenging when there's different levels to it. That's been nice with the digipicks, and then also the persuasion. I don't know if you guys use persuasion or not yet. Like the ability to like you can either go for the small like +1s to build up that bar, or you can like I'm gonna risk it all and go for like the +6, but it's gonna be hard as shit to do. That has been a nice take on the whole persuasion and trying to
I
convince
think
somebody.
the persuasion thing has kind of been it's a shittier Baldur's Gate feel to me. Like I would rather take the Baldur's Gate non-karmic dice system over the persuasion in Starfield. It just feels so rough.
I co-sign that. I co-sign
Like-
that. 100%.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't played a Baldur's
just-
Gate game, so I wouldn't know that, but that's awesome to hear that.
I
Baldur's Gate's
mean,
a
the
little bit better
people
than
in
this.
chat, I assume, being a gaming podcast, a lot of people pick up on that modern reference.
Yeah, for sure. I believe it. Some more news though in regards to Starfield. Mod support for consoles is planned for sometime next year, according to Todd Howard. That's great to hear because I've been seeing a lot of the PC mods, and I'm like, bro, like this game,
They're fun.
like it can make the game 1,000 times better. Like I'm ready for the Star Wars mod, like the complete overhaul of Star Wars. Like they've already added like stormtroopers and someone had actually went in the Mantis armor that you get at the end of the game for beating it. You can turn that into the Mandalorian armor. So that looks pretty fucking dope. A lot of
you
the
actually get that armor very early game.
yeah.
Superhero Mantis guy.
Yeah. I haven't done it yet because I'm like, I don't know if I want to do something that's probably not meant to happen and then ruin my experience. But yeah. So and then some updates that they wanted to give out. What's coming soon to Starfield? Quality of life fixes, bug fixes, brightness and contrast controls, HDR calibration menu, an FOV slider, NVIDIA DLSS support. AMD had the exclusivity at first for their software, I guess, for their graphics card, but now NVIDIA's getting it. 32 by 9 ultra wide monitor support is coming. An eat button for food. So instead of like having to pick up food, go into your menu to then eat it, to just look
Fuck
at the
yeah.
food and hit eat food, and then you'll be good. That makes
Fuck
sense.
yeah. All right,
And
let's go.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank goodness, you
That
know.
was just like it was like one of those things like you never really think about until it's not there, and you're like, damn, I can't just
Eat the
fucking
food.
this.
Just
Like I take fuck.
They are working closely with NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel on driver support, and then obviously just some stability and performance improvements. So there's definitely a lot going on in the game and a lot to improve. I definitely see this game being around for a long time. Mod
Yeah.
support is going to carry this game for a long time as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, Skyrim got released 12 times.
Yeah,
Starfield,
Starfield.
might too.
Yeah, I see it.
Starfield's probably going to be here for a few, decades.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be it, especially with how well it's been received in the community, and the community has already been, like you had said, so active in their mods. I mean, we already have Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, we have so much shit.
Yeah.
I definitely could see this sticking around for quite a good while, as kind of try to satiate us until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out in
2040
16,
at least.
16 years. 16 years.
For sure.
17 years.
But Roger, you're talking about like the ship builder. I haven't even built a ship yet. I haven't even done an outpost yet. That's how far like I've branched off that I'm not even got to the point to learn how to do any of that stuff yet. But some people that are huge in this shipbuilding have already made a ton of famous ships, and a lot of them coming from obviously like Star Wars. That I have a list here is the X-wing, the Millennium Falcon, the Consular class cruiser that was from the Phantom Menace right at the beginning. Thomas the Tank Engine. Scott, you were just talking about someone actually built that in there. You got a Magic School Bus, the Futurama ship. I'm not sure if that one actually has a name or not.
Planet Express ship.
Okay.
Planet Express, yeah.
The Covenant Spirit Drop ship, the Pelicans, like different ships from Halo have been in it, like some of them from like Halo Reach and whatnot, the big massive ships, and so much more. I mean, I didn't add them all in here to the list, but are there any of them that like ships that people made have stood out to you? You're like, oh, I have to build that one.
So not one that I have to build, but one that I saw that I thought was hilarious. It was like maybe like the second day the game was out, and somebody realized that all of the
know
enemy
where you're
ships are programmed to shoot at the center of mass of your ship. So they made that big
Yep.
cube that's just the sides, and so everybody was just shooting straight through them. They never got hit.
Yeah.
Shit was hilarious to me. Love it.
Yeah.
Tons of
that
dicks.
was-
There's been loads of dicks.
Dicks. Dicks, lots of them.
Inhuman and Toph, just like somebody in there is just like, I have to make a penis.
It has
It was
to.
probably the person who's pissed about the pronouns. that they
Wait,
had
wait
to
a minute,
pick
Dick. Yeah,
he, him. And they're like, I'm gonna show them a lesson.
I'm gonna show
Giant
them my
dick.
pronoun.
I'm gonna
I mean,
show
like-
I'm gonna show them I'm a he him.
Guys, it's the same thing as we saw with the Legend of Zelda this year. We saw people building giant statues with flaming penises. If you can build it, penises will show up.
Exactly. It's honestly it's their fault for allowing it. They know that everybody on the internet is a perpetual 14-year-old boy, and at the end of the day, the two funniest things that anybody can ever do is dick and fart jokes. That's it.
So before we move on, though, real quick, I just want to go around the board here and just give our first early ratings on the game, and then when we circle back to see whether we went up on the rating, stayed the same on the rating, or went down on the rating. So Roger, I'm gonna kick it to you first. Out of 10, what do you give this game so far?
8.
8. Okay. Any specific reasons why it's an 8? I know on my scale that's considered a great game, but yeah.
So it's a good game. It's a great game. It's not a very good. It's not an excellent or a masterpiece. It's not a 9 or a 10 because I'm a guy who loves story, and so far I just don't feel it sometimes. I just feel like it doesn't keep me engrossed, involved. Some of the story choices just don't feel right. Like when you first grab the artifact and you're like, okay, we're gonna leave the planet, and they're just like, take my ship, go, and you're like,
Okay.
what?
Yeah.
Why would you just give me your ship? What? And like I get there and they're like, you're a part of us now, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely could
It's
seem
just-
a little forced.
it feels like I'm on a railroad and I'm Thomas the fucking Tank Engine here. Like there is no leaving that track. And like it just feels like some of the story itself isn't, it's not grabbing me yet. Like,
Hmm.
and I think it would be better if the beginning of the story allowed me multiple paths, but it feels like right when you get there you're like UC Vanguard. That's it. If you have a background that doesn't let you play UC Vanguard, cool, but like it just feels like the first thing you do is join UC Vanguard. Like I'd like to have been able to like, okay, you join the league, and then you're like, all right, choose a faction you want to play as, and then you go start in that system as opposed to starting where I started.
Hmm.
Like it just feels like the beginning is always the same. Like I would have liked a better feeling, like I'm playing WoW, in the sense that you choose a side, you start in that side, you start in one of the starting areas, and the experience is different. The starting experience is different depending on where you start. And I just
Hmm.
felt like for a game that touts itself on all these choices, I just felt like the beginning kind of
Yeah.
didn't draw me in.
Maybe because like there's a list of all those, like the space scoundrel and stuff like that. There's like a long list, and like
Yep.
that should have been your determination of where the where your story started.
Where you started,
Kind
yeah.
of like Cyberpunk did. Cyberpunk did it all on a much smaller scale because there were only three options to choose from, and like
Yeah.
that determined like where you started at, where like how your story became. But then it obviously came together and
But like
streamlined. But
the biggest thing was you had like three different backgrounds that would give you citizenship already, whether you were a part of the Serpent, a part of UC, or a part of Freestar.
mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get what Broseiden's saying here. Like, apparently the story does like it's like a snowball effect in this game. Is like
yeah,
the further you play into the game, the crazier the story is going to get, and the more hooked you're going to be get. And then like
yeah,
that's why apparently like I don't know how the new game plus mode works because like people are touting this as like the greatest new game plus like version of a game
hmm
ever, and it's just like what did they do different? Like why is new game plus like the way to go? Like it was like almost makes me want to streamline the game, get to that, and then go back and do everything else.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's what I thought as well, and that's what I kept hearing. And the thing for me is like, yeah, I agree, bro. Side, and the main story is kind of shitty so far. Like, I got like 3 artifacts in a matter of like minutes, I say. Like I literally walked up and was like, I need your map, and he was like, no, and I was like, no, I need your map, and he was like, fine, get out of my house, here's the map, and I was like, cool, whatever, that seemed too easy, okay, bye.
Yeah. I've only gotten that first the first artifact. I haven't even gotten any more. So I am curious to see like what are the artifacts, where do they lead, what goes on, and then like
Yeah.
I'm actually engaged in the whole Terramorph like storyline because like
Terramorph is the best part. It's better than the main story so
because
far, in
like
my opinion.
they only appear on planets where like humans have been on for a long time, and where that one was at shouldn't have been there because humans
Yeah,
weren't on that planet that long. So someone planted that there, and why? And there was a Terramorph war. If you go through the
yeah.
UC Vanguard Museum, you can actually learn what the hell happened to Earth and everything else that went down. You're like, holy
It's
shit!
really cool. Yeah, and I think there's a lot, like the Terramorphs alone. I think that's the best part.
Right. So
Have you guys been to Reach yet?
no, not yet.
Reach from
Yeah, you can actually
Halo
go to it. Yeah.
Reach is rumored to be in there, and you can go there. So that's probably where I'll be setting up home base.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool planets. I'm really eager to figure out where my home base is going to be. But
Man.
I can't wait to circle back to Starfield in maybe about a month or so and see where we're at, whether it's where end game we're done playing or if it's just like a mid refresh. But we do got to move on here because we do got a jam packed episode of the Press Start podcast since we missed out on 2 weeks and a ton of news has come through. So let's go ahead and move on to the industry news.
7 out of 10 since you left.
7 out of
You know, I definitely did forget to
Stop
ask
me,
yours
you-
because
you
I didn't get
Starfield.
mine either.
What's your ratings, boys?
We're gonna go. We're gonna go around the room here.
Yeah.
Doesn't go around the room.
Because we were pushing it too long, we were going down a
Yeah.
rabbit hole. But yeah, so you gave it a 7 out of 10. Roger, I'm gonna go with you with on an 8 because like it is a slow story. There are some issues, but does this game get better? Because this game could potentially end at a 10 out of 10, but it could
Yeah.
also stay at an 8, or it can go go the reverse. So I'm with you on the 8.
Knowing that I'm eventually gonna go up.
Yeah.
It's still
It
too
leaves
early.
room for growth.
Yeah.
And I'm liking where the game is trending. Like it's definitely trending really really well.
Yeah. It's
All right,
definitely a
guys.
grower, not a shower.
Let's talk about some industry news. So let's begin with Unity. So many of you probably heard about Unity's fiasco last week. So Unity has announced that they're changing the monetization structure for the actual engine. So if you design as a developer, if you build a game in the Unity engine, you now must pay per install of the game. So every time the game is installed on a device, you have to pay for it. Not based off of your sales, not based off of anything like that. So if you by chance distribute a game for no money at all, then you have to pay out of your pocket for those installs. So it's a really interesting choice by Unity that they're going to be the first ones in the industry to go with a per install as opposed to a profit sharing model. Also, they mentioned that like they would allow you to do an ad-based revenue instead. So if somebody installed your game and you didn't want to pay per install, you would have to use Unity's in-engine advertisement system to generate revenue for Unity. So in the middle of playing a single-player game, an advertisement might just start playing.
Yeah, that's shit's super weird. Like this, like the whole gaming industry exploded when Unity came out with this news, and we're gonna go down some other paths, but like a lot of games have been like really fucking pissed off. They're like, we're just gonna delete the game altogether.
Not yummy, not yummy. With the most disrespect they can, kindly go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and
if you already are doing that, just keep doing it.
Yeah, and Human has it right here. This is just Unreal Engine 5 free publicity right now. It's like Unity is trying to close shop. The CEO of Unity said games without monetization in mind are fucking idiots. And I think the CEO of Unity is out of touch, and it just goes to show how bad corporate America is, and really out of touch with what their stuff is being used for. Like, there are two different classes of people in America, and people don't realize that Unity is one of those engines that people use to build projects for fun, for friends. Like, oh, I wanna try to maybe get into the game design world. Well, build something in Unity, in Game Maker. You don't go into Unreal Engine 5 as a solo dev and hope that you can build a a game in Unreal Engine 5. No, you choose a little bit of a lower key engine, and Unity is one of those starter platforms that some people use, and now you're not allowed to do that. Like, if you're an independent developer, you have to pay per install.
Right, and to go off of what you were talking about, where like not having a monetization in your game, that you're fucking idiots. He also entertained the idea that in Battlefield they were going to charge a player every time you wanted to reload your gun in the game, $1 every single time you reloaded. Yeah, I'd be broke as shit because I reload after every bullet I shoot, like COD reload, like it's nobody's business. So yeah, I don't like they're like Roger, you said it perfectly. Like, they're so disconnected from the gaming industry, like these heads up top. Like, they're just trying to force content out and do whatever they can because of greed. Like, they want to make money.
Shareholders need to see returns, and not just like 1%, 2%, 3%. They're looking for 100% return, 200, 300% return. And then they want to just make money, they want to print money. And it's like, guys, like, you just can't bleed the industry dry. And now we're going to start to hopefully see the gaming industry hit that bloat like we do with the streaming, with the entertainment industry, movies and stuff like that. We're probably going to start to see that bloat and the death of a lot of studios, developers, designers, a bunch of different things. We're going to hopefully see some of that fat get trimmed, and Unity might be one of the first things on the chopping block.
RIP, honestly.
So, but let's talk about what the repercussions of this are. So, the new install fees for Unity are causing some developers, like one of the games from last year that did really well, Cult of the Lamb, threatens to delete the game on January 1st of this year if the Unity fees go through, because it's next year these fees will come live. And the Unity boss also kind of knew this was going to be a problem, because right before they announced that they were going to be doing a new payment model, the CEO of Unity sold a bunch of stocks in Unity right before he announced the changes, and their stocks dropped.
Right.
Now, following this, the the actual gaming industry's response, not so great. People are giving death threats to the Unity offices, to people working for Unity, to the heads, to all the way from the heads down to just the developers of the Unity engine. They had to close their offices. All of the Unity offices, physical locations, are now closed until further notice due to death threats.
That's fucking terrible, to be honest with you. But yeah, to circle into to the selling the stocks real quick with what Inhuman said is, yeah, insider trading. Like that's exactly what I threw into
Yeah.
the Discord chat when Roger dropped this article. I was like, that's insider trading.
Yeah.
Like no doubt.
100%.
Like they just opened up a
Defrauding
can of worms
investors.
that like they're just going to dig themselves a hole where all of the decisions that they've been trying to go out with, they're going to reverse on all of that and then also take care of all of this insider trading shit. Like Unity is going to be a different company in the next couple of years because of everything that's
If
about to
it
go
even
down. Yeah,
exists.
even if it exists, but I think it might because Unity is it's used by a lot of fucking developers. Like a lot of developers use Unity and one say like any and even if it's a small bit, like they still use it for certain parts of their game.
Well, let's move on to Embracer Group here, Vic. What's the news out of Embracer Group?
Yeah, this is actually exciting news because I'm tired of Embracer Group buying every company under the world because they own like 3,000 game developers and they are considering selling Gearbox software, and they've actually already received some interest from third parties. And Embracer Group said they did acquire Gearbox back in 2021 for $1.4 billion. So, how much are they going to be selling this for? Obviously, a little bit more than that. I would say anywhere from like 5 to 7 billion would be my guess. And who to buy them? Like that is going to be the biggest question here. Who is going to buy them? Whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, it could be Apple. Apple could really be getting into the gaming industry big time here, which we're going to cover a little bit later on. I could see some big companies swallowing them up, and because Gearbox is pretty good, man. I mean, they got Borderlands, Tiny Tina's was a
Yeah.
big time success recently. Like they got a lot of good properties. So
Yeah, even if they're not like doubling profits, they're doing well. Like it's definitely not a leak of money by any means.
right,
But
and the fact that Gearbox is branching out into like the movies and TV industry with the
mhm,
Borderlands movies. So like this is going to be a multimedia kind of company. It's not just oh, it's a game company, guys. Like no, this is going to be a game turned movie as well.
yeah. So Scott, any thoughts?
I'm glad that they're getting rid of some shit. Like you said, they have like 3,000 fucking developers, and everything always ended up pointing back to Embracer Group. So anxious to see how it's gonna go. If they go through with the selling it, I mean, maybe they'll take what they got it for 1.4 billion. Did they
Yep.
say anything about what sell point might be? I
Mm-mm.
mean, maybe if they can just hop off, get a little bit of a profit, and then
I'm estimating probably like a $5 billion range at this
yeah.
point because
So
they
that's
had
really it.
because they had Borderlands 3, then they had Tiny Tina's, and then they obviously got the movie coming out. Like the value of the company is probably up there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see where they'll go
Yeah,
and how they'll get utilized with some of the things that we've known them to do in the past, like some of the really good content they've been putting out. And I'm kind of anxious to see where they're gonna find their new home and how that new home's gonna use or help them.
Mhm. So Scott, what's going on at Square Enix then?
Man, Square Enix, their stock fell 30% from its peak this year. So wiped out about $2 billion since Final Fantasy 16 was released.
So one Gearbox is what you're saying?
So what? Well, it depends. Depends. It could be point 0.5 gearboxes. But yes, they've essentially lost a gearbox this year.
that's a good way of comparison. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of this also part because sales on the PS5 really did fail to meet a lot of the expectations. They were kind of hoping to get a lot more than what they were getting,
Hmm.
and that kind of has a part to play with it. But
Yeah.
what would be nice is maybe we'll see some Square Enix games on other platforms.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll open that up because relying on one horse, that's
it's not working.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we've seen at the Square Enix conference in Las Vegas when they made that deal with the Xbox. They brought Phil Spencer on the stage, and I think they're because obviously that's the new CEO out there making those deals, and he's like, these deals that the old CEO was making, where it was PlayStation exclusive, everything wasn't doing our company any good. especially with a huge game as Final Fantasy 16, and that shit just tanked for real. Like if this comes to Xbox and maybe even Nintendo, like this game could have made them a ton of money, but instead they lost $2 billion. So
Well, and how many times have we talked about this with like Final Fantasy or any other releases that are only on PlayStation? Like a lot of these games I would love to play. I'm not going to go buy a PlayStation to do it.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah, no, it honestly, PlayStation kind of was hoping for name recognition alone to carry this game, but honestly, it just goes to show that like even big name things like we've seen Square Enix losing it lately with Final Fantasy. Like it's hit or miss some days, and I think honestly, without the true following for this game, it became a big miss. But Vic, let's talk about something that wasn't a miss. How about EA Respawn?
Yeah, well, this is kind of a sad news here. EA Respawn, Stig Asmussen, probably butchered his name, the director behind Star Wars Jedi series and the former God of War 3 lead, has left EA to pursue some new adventures and stuff. He's been doing this for a long time because we're talking about God of War 3, which was back on what the PS2, PS3 time frame. So he's been doing that shit for a long time, and he just wanted to new change of scenery. So awesome for him. He had a lot of success recently, but nonetheless, there's that. So, Roger, we're going to round out the industry news here with a new direct that was announced.
Yeah, so Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, the sequel to the Yakuza series, Like a Dragon's newest iteration. We will be seeing more content and a direct presentation on September 19th so that we can get a little more information on what the game is truly going to entail. All we've seen so far is a trailer with a bunch of Austin Powers themed jokes where everyone's covering up his dick with different things.
Right, because this is the one where he's coming to America, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Hawaii. He wakes up on a Hawaiian beach and he's buck ass naked, and everyone's just like, "Oh God!" And like we've got beer bottles awkwardly placed, bananas, fruit, whatever.
Yeah, that'll be exciting there. I've never played a Yakuza game. Now it's called Like a Dragon, and it's because they take so long to beat. But maybe one of these days I'll give these ones a go for sure. But that's all of our.
Probably not.
Probably not. My backlog is just insanely long.
My man looked at Sea of Stars, a possible game of the year runner, and he's like, that's a 20-hour game. I'm good.
Yeah, I can't do it, guys.
Too much time for my blood.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our gaming news. Alright, so we're going to kick it off here with the Xbox related news. First off, we do got some new hardware coming out from Microsoft here. Get this one pulled up here first. I mean, if anybody who missed out on the Xbox 360 time frame, now's the time to buy your new Xbox 360. As you can see here up on screen, this one is being built by some Mega Blocks. And it looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously you can't play games on it, but it's a collector's item. It looks pretty dope, if you ask me. And it comes with even a Halo 3 case, guys. That's built out of the Mega Blocks.
Does it come with a red ring light?
It does have the option to change the color of the ring to red.
There we go.
So yeah,
that's the real feel right there.
That's what it is. So actually, I don't need this. I actually still have my Xbox 360
with the red
with
rings.
its red ring.
Nope, it doesn't red ring. I turned it on. It's been sitting in a box for like 2.5 years. Best pack job I've ever done. And it's still it boots up. At least I think I still have it. I know we were selling some stuff. I don't know if Lady Friend put that on the porch for somebody to pick up or not.
And then next up here from Xbox is they announced the new Astral Purple controller. It's a nice deep purple too. It looks pretty good. I want to eventually add it to the collection, but not anytime soon. I got a couple other ones I want to grab before I grab this one. Are you guys a big fan of the purple controller at all, or is this kind of just meh?
It's good.
Looks pretty
good.
bland.
Yeah.
Just a very simplistic controller.
I'm not a fan of purple, but seeing that real deep purple there looks fun. I mean, it's not jaw dropping.
Yeah, it's not like wow.
But I think it's a good color. I mean, purple doesn't get a lot of love. It doesn't get enough love, I don't think. I'm not a purple guy, but I mean, purple doesn't get as much love as I think it should.
For sure.
It used to be the color of royalty.
Yeah, well, they actually called it there. Like, if you want to have royalty or something like that, it's like in their description of the controller.
Yeah.
That's what they say. But next up for software, in regards to an update, you can now stream from your Xbox to Discord, which has been a long-awaited feature. Which still just cracks me up is the fact that PlayStation was the one that signed the deal with Discord, right? But they don't have any of these goddamn features, and Xbox keeps getting the features first. So I'm like, what deal was struck between Discord and PlayStation? Because Xbox is getting all of the features before them. Mind
I
blowing.
think honestly, it just goes to show that Microsoft putting in the effort because it's not Discord that's developing these features. I'm pretty sure it's just Microsoft using Discord's API. So Discord is just like, yeah, here's our servers, here's the API, go wild. And Microsoft's like, we gotta beat PlayStation. PlayStation's like, we signed a deal, and Microsoft's like, yeah, but you're getting fucked.
Yeah, because you don't know how to use
Like,
the
yeah,
API.
That's really cool. That's really cool that you guys signed that deal.
Cool deal.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like the NFT guys. But we signed the deal. We're fucking streaming to Discord right now. You can go ahead and sign that deal if you want.
Yeah, you go for it, buddy.
Yeah.
But next up, in regards to Xbox services, there was a new thing that they announced: the Xbox Mastercard. This one is a no annual fee credit card with benefits for Xbox. It is issued by Barclays. It's available exclusively in the United States starting on September 21st. This one you can earn cards per dollar or earn points per dollar. Microsoft and Xbox transactions, you get 5 times points. Streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus, you get 3 times the points. Dining delivery services on eligible orders from Grubhub and DoorDash, and then everyday purchases you get 1 times points. Which this card sounds pretty dope. I'm just worried about like what the hell is the APR on this?
Well, it'll probably be variable 26 to 29 or some shit like that.
Some ridiculous.
You don't gotta worry about that if you pay it off.
Yeah, exactly. I was about
you
to say,
you don't gotta worry
I don't
about
even
that.
know what mine is. I just have 0.
I don't know what it is. But that, I mean, the more I look at this, and I saw it earlier, I was like, this card is for me.
It gets the points you need.
I would buy this, put all of my streaming services on it, because they all come off of one that's only like 1.5%, and you could do like a cashback or something like that. I literally door dashed dinner earlier from shout out to Ninja Ramen. Amazing every time, so good. But yeah, so like I would use this card for everything.
Yeah.
Except for everyday purchases.
Yeah,
because
it
my
doesn't
other
make
one
sense
gets
when you get
1.5%.
more. Yeah. Yeah, but it's like I buy a lot of my games on Xbox, and it's like, man, 5 times the points. Like I could be making bank and buying like basically buy 5 games, get one free or whatever. Like it would. I know it's not. That's not how that would equate to. But it's just like I could.
Well, no, it actually can, because if it has the cash back and keeps it there, you can just take that cash back and you apply it directly to your balance.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Might look into that for sure. But moving on to Game Pass, there was quite a bit of an update. So Game Pass Core, which replaced Xbox Live Gold, went live on the 14th, and they finally had the full list of games that you'll have access to it at any given time. And they're going to be adding and removing games, kind of like Netflix does, just at a much smaller scale. So you get Among Us, Astroneer, Celeste, Dead Cells, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Firewatch, Forza Horizon 4, Gang Beast, Gears of War 5, Golf with Your Friends, Grounded, Halo 5, Halo Wars 2, Hellblade, Fall Flat, Inside, Limbo, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Overcooked 2, Payday 2, Power Wash Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Slay the Spire, Spiritfarer, Stardew Valley, State of Decay 2, Superliminal, The Elder Scrolls Online, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, Unpacking, and Vampire Survivors. So that is a long list of actually some pretty
You
solid
fucking
games.
crushed that list. You fucking crushed that shit. That was so much.
He only missed like one, and he only.
I didn't even catch that.
I was like,
I didn't
man,
even
good
catch
shit
that,
out
man.
here.
Fucking
Thanks, guys.
absolutely just demolished. Was that a record?
Might be.
I'm looking over at the record keeper. See if that was a record, man. That was awesome. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid list though. Like if anybody who's
Yeah.
missed out on any of these games, like this is the perfect chance. $10 a month, you have access to all these games. New games are on their way. They're going to update this like 3 times a year.
And it's got quite a few multiplayer games, so it really, can capitalize on the fact that, you're playing, online. You're getting all these games offline. Might as well play online. You've got Fallout 76, for example. You've got Gang Beast, which is literally only meant to be golf with your friends, for example.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then for regular Game Pass, though, there was a couple additions. So you got Gris came to cloud console and PC already. Starfield, obviously, cloud console and only Series S and X. You can play it on Xbox One via cloud if you want to play it there. Don't recommend it. Then you had Solar Ash, also already came out for cloud console and PC. And then the next big one, which comes out here in a couple of days, is Lies of P. Really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
It,
I've already got it pre-reloaded.
yeah, so over in Shoot to Win, I'm in charge of like the content creation and stuff, and we're starting up a game club that goes live on in October. October 1st, we're going to be voting on 3 games, and Liza P is one of the 3 games. I'm not going to spoil the other 2 games because we're building up some hype around it. But I think Liza P could win the vote, where we're all going to play, come together at the end of the month, and talk about our experience. So definitely come through and check that out over on Shoot to Win's Discord. But yeah, Liza P, man, looks great. But September 15th, there are a couple of games leaving. You have The Amazing Cultivating Simulator, Origami 2, Danganronpa V3, DC Legends of Super Pets, RIP, Fuga, Melodies of Steel, Metal Hellsinger, which I highly recommend going to play that
Yeah.
game. That was a lot of fun. Sid Meier's Civilization 6, which I think you played that one. Tainted
times.
Grail, Conquest, and Train Sim World 3. So bye bye Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah, it's like it's the train world for me, man.
I know.
I'm torn.
Honestly, I'm surprised that Metal Hellsinger was leaving, but honestly, it's a vastly unique game that helped to really redefine a genre. So if you haven't played it, as Vic said, yeah, I would jump on it. It's worth a try if you like rhythm-based games.
Well,
Which, actually-
unfortunately, it's too late.
Yeah, it is too late. My bad, guys.
Ah,
Um,
they're already gone.
but those games
Two
did
days
leave on
ago.
September 15th, man.
Two
Lose track of
days too late.
2 days too late, yeah. But that is all the Xbox news that we had this week. I know the next 2 are going to be pretty long for you guys, but Roger, I'm going to kick it over to you for the PlayStation news.
All right, so let's talk about PlayStation. Baldur's Gate 3 did hit PlayStation recently, and we saw that on PS5, you're only able to get 21 frames at max with split screen gaming, which is actually really bad, like surprisingly so. But hopefully, maybe the software updates that are coming to PS5 soon will maybe help. We're going to have, using the second DualSense controller for assistance, you're able to get new audio options for 3D audio, and you're also going to have support for larger capacity M2 SSDs. So now you'll be able to have up to an 8 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. That's actually one of my highlights of the PlayStation 5 is the ability to to remove your internal M.2 SSD and put in a brand new one. That you would do on the PC, where Xbox they use like a proprietary like memory card that plugs into the back of it, which is an SSD, but like that one's like hardwired like directly where
Yeah.
you can still use an RDN2, and so you have both of your hard drives there. So there are trade-offs on it.
Yeah. Now let's talk about services here. PlayStation Plus Extras. We're going to have some additions here. Near Replicant is going to be added. 13 Sentinels. Sid Meier Civilization 6 leaves Xbox and joins the PlayStation Plus. We've got Star Ocean, The Divine Force, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2, Odin's Sphere, Lift
That's a
Razor,
hell of a word.
Unpacking, Planet Coaster Console Edition, The War of Mine, Cloudpunk, Contra Rogue Corps, Tales Noir, Call of the Sea, West of Dead, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness, and Paw Patrol the movie.
Yes.
Goddamn right.
Paw Patrol.
Goddamn right.
Patrol,
Fucking
boys. Let's
Paw Patrol, dude. Let's go.
Does it have multiplayer? Oh man, so Roger, you have PlayStation Plus. Which tier do you have again?
I have the biggest here.
So you have the premium one. So
The
do any of those
thickness.
games have you excited to play or check out on the PS5?
I only know like 2 or 3 games that are listed here. Like, oh god, I know Sid Meier Civilization 6, but only psychopaths and serial killers play Sid Meier Civilization on console. Near Replicant,
We already played and
I
beat
played
that.
it. I haven't beaten. I've beaten the game up to the last segment, which is to beat the whole game over again. But all the story changes because you've played through it. You've replayed it a
Yeah.
few times. I just need to get the final ending. Other than that, this War of Mine I know of, never played it yet. Unpacking I'm aware of, I never played it. But Star Ocean I know is a big series, and to see 2 of the Star Ocean games joining the console is interesting because along with that we have PS Plus Premium Classic ads, where we're going to be able to get most of the rest of Star Ocean, where we're getting Star Ocean First Departure R, Star Ocean Till the End of Time, and Star Ocean The Last Hope 4K remaster. We're also going to get Dragon's Crown Pro. But I think this week we're seeing a big ad for a big JRPG series. Star Ocean, pretty much the entire collection looks like it's entering PlayStation if you have your subscription.
Mm-hmm.
But
The girthier version. The girthier version.
The girthier version, yes, to get the classic editions. But let's talk about, lastly, the state of play. So on September, we're going to... We did or going to? I can't
Already
remember.
did. Yeah, it already happened last week.
I missed it, yeah. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we saw more content about that. We saw Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Separate Ways DLC, the Resident Evil 4 Remake for PS VR 2. We've got Avatar's Frontiers of Pandora, the PS5's Deep Earth Collection, Baby Steps, Roblox, Ghostbusters, Helldivers 2, Foam Stars, and the Tale of Arise expansion. So quite a bit happened at the state of play. Honestly, though, has any of it really, other than Spider-Man 2, been that big? I don't think so.
I mean,
honestly,
it was just the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got its release date finally, and that's coming out like February or something.
But that's the Final Fantasy. Isn't that the like mobile game?
No, I think no. This is the PS5 game. This is like part 2 of
Oh, okay.
Part 2 of the remake.
Of the remake that's supposed to come out. That comes February 29th of 2024 is when it comes out to the PS5. Spider-Man 2 just showcased that there's like 65 different suits that you'll be able to switch to, and I'm like, okay, it sounds like Marvel Avengers. That is a dumpster fire, which, by the way, because the game's going to be like, you won't be able to buy it digitally here soon. It's on sale for $4 on all platforms, so if you haven't played it, go buy that, even though it was a dumpster
Get it
fire.
now.
Yeah.
After you get your Xbox MasterCard.
Yeah, with your MasterCard, and then
With your Xbox
so it's even
MasterCard.
cheaper. So it's even cheaper. But yeah, what was interesting though is Resident Evil 4 got a DLC announcement called Separate Ways. Was this part of the original Resident Evil 4, or was this like brand new DLC for Resident Evil 4?
I don't actually know. I never played the original.
Yeah, I played like bits and pieces of it, but it was long before my time of hardcore
That was like
gaming.
40 years ago. I don't remember.
When the Earth was still new and covered in lava.
Yeah.
But I want to
played
say
in
new
Pangea.
content. Yeah. Let's see. Avatar's Pandora just got like new story trailer. The new PS5 Deep Earth collection looked pretty cool, I guess. I'll see if I can bring it up on screen. So it's like
Oh no, this is definitely. I'm sorry. To go back, this is the Ada Wong story.
Yes.
The Ada Wong side of it. That was in that the original Resident Evil 4 had that as well.
So like,
was that built into the game, or was that like?
I think it was an extra. I think it was like an extra, like built in, but you had to play the story to unlock it,
Okay.
and then you could do some Ada Wong stuff.
Sort of like unlocking the rocket launcher on the other Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
so I have up here on screen just the different new controllers and the faceplates that were announced for the PS5. Like the gray one kind of gives me like old school PS1 vibes, but
Big L's, boys, big L's.
Not really digging these, I guess. The red one's kind of cool, but yeah.
It's just, there are so many missed opportunities. Where are Final Fantasy plates? Where was the God of War plates? Readily available. Like, where are these plates for their big games? Like, I would love a Ratchet and Clank plate or a God of War plate.
So far, all they got is Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man's the only one that they got.
It's just so disappointing.
It really is just such a missed opportunity.
Like, man, it is, because you had like the things you could do, and they just don't want it.
It would literally be printing money, but they decided not to. But let's not harp on PlayStation. Let's move to Nintendo so that we don't, drag our show out too long here, because this is the real winner of the week.
Mm-hmm.
This is just massive. So Nintendo Switch, we're gonna run through some stuff, and then we're gonna get to the real meat and potatoes. So Switch Online games, we're getting Kirby Star Stacker, Joy Mech Fight, Downtown Neketsu March Super Awesome Field Day, and the Quest for Camelot. As far as
and two of those games are actually the first time here in the United States. Like I forget which two of those. I think Star Stacker and Joy Mech Fight were Japanese only games when they originally came out.
Yep. And then Yeah, so Breath of the Wild right now there's still no DLC planned, and what they are planning is to just move directly into a new Legend
We,
of
you
Zelda.
mean Tears of the Kingdom? Tears of the Kingdom has no
Oh,
DLC.
sorry, I put the wrong one there.
Oh
That's
damn!
okay.
Well, it's the same
Everyone
fucking
still calls it Breath
It's
of
the
the
same
Wild
fucking
2.
game.
It's Breath of the
It's
Wild
just-
2. You know.
Breath of the Wild 2, Electric Boogaloo, same thing. Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. I could pop one in and not know which one I'm playing until like halfway through. But now on to the big stuff that we love to see here, Nintendo Direct. So here's everything, the big list of announcements coming out of Nintendo Direct from September 2023. Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Blood War. The Thousand Year Door. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake. F-Zero 99 announced and available for the Switch Online. Princess Peach Showtime. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remasters, which is awesome. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Splatoon 3 DLC number 2. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Super Mario RPG Remake, which is I'm pretty hyped for. Trombone Champ, obviously we're all gonna be playing the shit out of that. Dave the Diver, Wave 6 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Boosters Course Pack. So Wave 6 coming in from there if you've had that. Detective Pikachu returns. Amiibo updates. Horizon Chase 2, Another Code Recollection. Saga Emerald Beyond. Unicorn Overlord. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. WarioWare Move It, and then they have the Nintendo Gallery Museum. I do believe that is going to be getting brought up here on the mini screen, big
No,
screen.
no, I just saw the article there, so if we could talk about the articles.
Yeah, find it yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I could.
But so honestly, I think one of the coolest things for me is the fact that we're getting to see some really cool games. Some new announcements were awesome. The fact that Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is getting an HD remake that is coming to Switch Online with your already existing Switch Online Classics collection. The fact that we've got F-Zero 99 for free if you have Switch Online, you can just play it. It is a 99-person battle royale racer, which honestly looks pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
I
a
might
lot of
pick
people
that
have
up
been
and
playing
play
on
with some
my
friends.
Twitter. I've been seeing a bunch of people post like some
Mhm.
highlights from it. I'm like, man, that's just like a classic racer, like
Mhm.
where it was just like a joystick and that's it.
Yeah, we saw new amiibos coming out, so now every Smash character will have an amiibo as of this iteration. Sora from Kingdom Hearts will be getting an amiibo. The WarioWare Move It game looks pretty cool.
It does. A lot of these look really just awesome as far as like seeing games that deserve remakes or HD remasters getting them, and seeing some of the cool shit come out like Wario Move It.
Hmm
Why the
And what's
fuck not?
awesome about
I'm
the-
excited for the Tomb Raider
Yeah.
1 through 3.
That's what I was about to talk about,
Remastered.
because not only is it going to be available on the Switch, you can also play this on PlayStation and on Xbox as well. And that'll be the first time that those first 3 games will be on an Xbox console.
hmm
And that's coming out
Yeah.
February 14th of next year, so that's like right around the corner.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of big games here. So if I had to ask you guys what was the most exciting part of the Direct for you guys, what would you choose?
That's a tough one, to be honest with you. But I would like the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, just because I've been playing like the OG Paper Mario from the N64, and just to see this, like, this looks like 1,000 times better than the one I'm playing now.
They
I'd-
took a lot of the lessons learned.
Yeah, I'd say they definitely listened and saw what they can
Yeah.
the actual the actual value that they can add.
Yeah, for sure. What about you,
Scobie,
Scott?
sorry, I cut you off.
It's all right. It's been happening a lot lately.
That's all right.
Uh, F-Zero 99 always sticks out to me. That shit was fun. I do have to give it to the Tomb Raider though. That's like that they're checking all the nostalgia boxes with that. I mean, I'm definitely gonna be playing Tomb Raider again.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
might have to give it a go.
Yeah, there's no way you don't. If you've played the original Tomb Raiders and then now see it come here, I don't have to go buy anything else to fucking play it.
Yeah, you don't have to go find a
Pop this,
PS1
like,
and
I don't have to go
for $1,000.
Yeah, I don't have to rock down and buy $950 worth of Sony original tech. to fucking play this game.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you thinking, Roger?
So honestly, for me, Super Mario RPG is a game that I missed. I never got to play, and honestly, I'm really excited to play it. I have a lot of friends who talk highly of this game, and after I saw it, I was like, honestly, I'm a fan for classic turn-based RPGs, and this is just this is the prequel or the prelude to what Paper Mario is. Like this is the game that gave Paper Mario the foundation to be a success that it was, and Paper Mario was always a huge success in my mind. I'm excited to see what this game has to offer, especially now that it is looks better, looks, plays is faster, looks nicer, updated, just completely renovated. It looks like it could be really, really good. If I had to give it a second one though, it's a WarioWare Move It. Honestly, I enjoy WarioWare games, and I think it's interesting that we're finally seeing more titles that utilize the Switch Joy-Cons other than the Switch Sports series that we tend to get every time that Nintendo now releases, whether it was Wii Sports, Switch Sports and all this stuff. We're actually going to finally see a game outside of them that would really like to try to utilize that technology.
For sure. I've actually never played a WarioWare game, but I'll take your word for it. Might be a good game to check out.
Honestly, WarioWare is just an interesting game because it's
confirmed to have over 200 micro games. That's a lot.
Yeah. WarioWare always has that many games. It's WarioWare. So all they are is little 5 to 10 second clips of do X now. And you're like, you may not know what you're doing, but you have to do it the second it shows up.
Oh,
And for those of you that don't know, a micro game is a game that is actually less than 3 inches when installed.
So that's enough of our Nintendo news. I'm just going to cover Apple real quick, which isn't always in our gaming news, but they touted and revealed the new iPhone 15s, and with the iPhone 15 Pro and the Pro Max, those phones are actually going to be taking mobile games to the next level apparently, because it's going to be able to do on hardware ray tracing and be able to allow you to export your display over to a display at 4K 60. As well, and some of the games that are going to be playable on these games with ray tracing are going to be like Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, and the upcoming Assassin's Creed Mirage, which that's going to be getting a day one release on an iOS device for the first time, and then also Death Stranding, which we already knew was coming to most Apple products since they had Hideo Kojima on stage at their last event. But that's big time here, big time news for mobile gaming, because mobile gaming is going to potentially enter into the not so niche market and running these like mobile kind of games, but now we're going to get like full scale console games on the mobile phone, and I think that's what we need.
It's massive. That's huge. It really is. There's a lot of power coming out of such a small device, and that's when you think of like steps in the right direction, where more power, better ability in a smaller piece. I mean, this is one of those times it's what you ask for.
Right.
It's a lot of power coming out of the iPhone, and I really hope that this kind of brings some of the iPhone people that want to play some of these games over, and just kind of make a mobile gamer out of people, and something that isn't just like fucking Candy Crush.
Yeah. Exactly, or
Mario,
Marvel Snap, the proper. Poopers,
we've got our proper poopers.
Yeah, like Anthony here is talking about here in chat is like when we're going to see a good-looking Battlefield game. Like not only could we see a Battlefield game for console, like an actual enjoyable, good-looking one, but we could see a Battlefield game on the iPhone 15 Pro, Pro Max, or whatever gaming or mobile device that can actually run these. Because COD Mobile was really great.
Yeah, and I was gonna say exactly that. We've seen Call of Duty on mobile for years now, and it works and it plays well. Fortnite's on there. We've got so many games now that are on there that maybe we can finally stop. We can move away from the shitty, formulaic mobile game market and actually enter into a world where we don't need handheld consoles. We just play on our phones.
Right, and honestly, Apple's like setting themselves up to enter the gaming industry at a really good way with these new devices. The iPad Pros were already ready to run these the way that the iPhones are about to start running them, but they also have the Apple Arcade, which is like a subscription service like Game Pass. Like you subscribe like
Google
$5
has it too. Yeah,
$5 a month, you get X amount of games. If Apple like buys say Gearbox All the Borderlands games are now playable on your iPhone for 15, and you get them for free if you have the Apple Arcade. Boom. Like it
New
just works.
conspiracy.
It just makes sense to me. But I
New
know that's probably not
conspiracy.
going to happen.
Apple.
Yeah, new
New
conspiracy.
conspiracy. Apple's buying Gearbox.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Apple's buying Gearbox. But yeah, so Anthony, it's really hard to get that feeling back from the
Mhm.
Battlefield 4 that we've all really grown, like really kind of fell in love with. Like
Yeah.
any Battlefield since then just hasn't hit the mark.
Hardline was on its like decline, but Hardline was still enjoyable.
Mhm.
Battlefield 3 and 4 were great. I mean, even going back to the Bad Company games, Bad Company 1 and 2 were fucking chef's kiss, like perfect, like great fun games to enjoy. But yeah, we need a new Battlefield
we're
game.
we're seeing an issue where companies are just trying to grab at money, and they're like, well, we can do whatever we want because we have the name of a game. And I think that's our issue. But I'm staying on the vein of the iPhone though. I just hope these games play well,
Hmm.
and the price tag is what I'm interested to see.
Right? Yeah. Because like, is it going to be $70 on the iPhone? I would hope not, because it's not going to be running and looking the same way as it would on the PC or the Xbox. You know.
And what if it doesn't work well? What if it honestly, a bunch of people pay $70 into it and they're like, wow, I'm getting 10 frames on the iPhone
And they
15.
they
Yeah.
just
What
installed
do you
dog
mean?
shit.
Like,
Yeah, they just
yeah,
installed dog shit on their computer. On
But
their
we'll
phone.
what's
find
the
out.
refund policy on this dog shit?
So
We'll
here's
find out
actually a
this week
question.
because the iPhone
Here's a
15 will be
question
available on the
from
22nd. So we'll find out very
here's a
soon.
question from chat that I can't answer because
Yeah.
I don't really play the Xbox anymore. But Anthony said, "How good is the remote play from your Xbox to your phone and using the controller?" Have either
I
of you guys?
I can answer that. I've actually done it with
Yeah.
my phone and the iPad. I streamed the Xbox to both of my devices and used any of my controllers that I carry around with me, and it's actually very seamless. It works really well. It boots up really quickly. The frames and the latency has gotten better. I would say in the past like year or two. Like when I first got it, when they first revealed it, I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. Like when you could not play shooters, like you could barely play any game to be honest, because like the input between the controller and the device that it was streaming to, you could see it was like a 1 to 2 second delay, and you're like,
Yeah, I was gonna
this
ask
isn't
about the
playable.
input lag and what they did to
Now
kind of handle that.
it's
Yeah,
like
and
it's like
honestly,
milliseconds. Like it's if you're playing competitive,
it's
no,
so
don't do it.
fast.
But it works. It just works now, and it's enjoyable.
I honestly, and I'll talk about the PlayStation for example, because I've done it. I actually have the remote play for PlayStation on my phone as well as my PC, and it's pretty seamless. I didn't feel like I had a bad experience, but I wasn't playing competitively. I was playing first player games, single player games.
Hmm.
So yeah, Anthony, if you wanna draw yourself a nice bath, get some bubbles in there, light some candles, and stream up just a first person RPG, something you want to hang out and play, there you go. Skyrim version 37. I think we're on
Exactly.
38 or 39 now. But if you want to draw yourself a nice hot bath and use that remote play,
There you
you
go.
heard it
it,
here. It's gonna
it
be
works pretty
awesome.
well. But let's keep moving on here. Let's talk about some bad decisions in the gaming industry. Mortal Kombat 1. I just talked about how some companies rely on that name recognition to sell their game for them. Mortal Kombat 1 decided that even though it wants to be a competitive fighter game, there will not be crossplay at launch.
Yeah, this is pretty rough if you ask me. Like why are we releasing games that are just missing basic features that all games have basically at this
Yeah,
point? You know what I mean?
how are you going to even compete with Street Fighter if you don't have crossplay?
Right. You separate your community like no tomorrow. Like now it's like, oh, I can't play
Hmm.
with my PlayStation friends on my Xbox or whatever.
Exactly.
PC can't play with neither consoles now or whatever. And it's just like, and it's coming later. It's not like it's coming, like we don't even have an official release. Like, hey, it's coming by the end of the year or sometime next year. It's like it's coming later. We're just not sure when. But like,
Exactly.
why? Like, why did they just rush the game out because all of these other fighting games are just dropping left and right? And they had to get their game out, or is this like corporate greed? Like, is this like money? Like, corporate was like, "Hey, you have to get it out. Scrap that feature for now. We'll come back to it." Like, why? I need to know that answer.
They took
Yeah,
notes from Unity.
yeah, absolutely,
There it is.
absolutely, and it's a pay per console is what they're gonna do. So every console you want to play with, you actually have to pay. No, I think this is for sure a core feature. Like
Mhm.
this isn't a nice to have. This isn't split screen and fucking Baldur's Gate. This is a cross play feature on one of the biggest fighting titles of all time, if not the biggest fighting title of all time.
Honestly, it's the game that defined a genre.
That is a ball drop. And I mean, it's like one of those big red dodgeballs. You hear the boing in a fucking empty basketball,
Wham.
in an empty basketball court. Just boing.
Apple must
They
be
drop the
listening
fucking
to
ball.
our conversation because I literally just got an email that says, "Oh, enjoy must try App Store games."
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, Apple
Now
is
to try
listening.
it. But let's
what a fun
one more topic here before we round out with Scott with a few more topics. Sea of Stars, big hitter we had recently drop on pretty much both of the big consoles as well as Game Pass, PSN Plus. Like Sea of Stars, game director Thierry Boulanger said that a DLC is definitely in the works for this game. This game, if you have completed it, is a partial cliffhanger, a really good game. Was a really good game, really good story. They want to continue it, and maybe there will be another game after it, but there is a DLC coming.
Right, and this is
Now,
exciting because this was a Kickstarter game that blew up,
Yeah.
and it's being really it's received really well. I haven't played it. I do want to check this out. I actually installed it on my Xbox, so I do want to give this a go. And it's like, yo, this game's doing really well. We got to get DLC going. But
It's
the
games
DLC,
like this.
the DLC was actually passed off to a secondary team so they can work on their next game that they have in the works apparently.
It's games
Yeah.
like this that come out as like Kickstarter stuff like that, and people just come out and make great games that like it takes you back to like why the fuck do we care about these CEOs and what they like?
hmm
They're only doing shit for the shareholder, and then you have people come out with like Sea of Stars, who are it's made
Yeah.
by people who love games. And
And-
it's just a smash hit. Like, can
And Scott,
somebody
you're
take a
so
fucking
right.
lesson here?
Like,
Can
look at
somebody take a
Unity.
lesson? Unity,
Like,
shit in the bed.
Yeah, Unity is like you're talking about the point you're making, and I want to add on because you're making such a great point. Is these developers, they don't always have money to go and make stuff, and like these Kickstarter games that do so well, these small indie teams that do really well, good work, may not be able to work if things like Unity happen.
Exactly. And it's. I really hope Unity gets their fucking shit together. But it's like things like this. Like this is why Baldur's Gate was so successful because
Mhm.
then he owns the fucking company. He is the shareholders. If he wants something or doesn't want something, he doesn't fucking have it. What do
Yeah.
you put it in? I mean, in Sea of Stars, like a dollar in the hand of a developer on Kickstarter is more valuable than $1,000 in the hands of a developer.
Mhm.
in
Any
a big
AAA studio.
in any AAA studio, any AAA studio.
I can
Couldn't
second
agree
that.
more.
So moving on, Scott, to one of your favorite franchises, I think, right?
Yes, sir. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. The movie is now going to be getting turned into a video game, and they are expecting that to come in 2024. So some pretty
Okay.
cool stuff from there. I've heard so many good things about the movie. One of these days, I'm going to sit down and watch. I'm just not really big into the whole animation style they have for it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
and
that like
that's-
mixed reality.
Yeah, it's like the mixed reality, like claymation kind of shit, almost looking. But I've heard a lot. Everybody who I've talked to has seen it, loved it.
Mhm.
And I mean, depending on how they do the animation in the video game, I'll definitely probably be playing it.
Right. I mean, because obviously they've seen the success from like Shredder's Revenge and the DLC and stuff like that, and then they released a movie and that was super successful. Has a similar art style, I guess, to also like the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse apparently. And now like it's interesting to see like a movie turned into a game now. Like we haven't seen that in a while, but this IP makes sense.
Let's just
Yeah,
hope
for
they
sure.
have an interesting story and they don't just make the movie.
No,
the game.
it apparently, according to the article, it takes place a couple years after the events of the movie, or a
There
couple
you
months
go.
after the movie. So it does like
Good.
continue the story of what we
Good.
saw in the movie.
We call that world building.
Oh, would you look at
Love
that?
it. Fucking love that stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be
It
coming
like
out
gives
in,
you a reason to go
2024.
watch the movie. Otherwise,
Exactly.
I would just play the game and then I don't have to watch the movie because I got the same shit in front of me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or just watch the movie. Then you don't have to spend
Or yeah, no,
20
the other way
hours,
around.
20, 30 hours playing a game. But moving on here with other release dates and some delays that we got. So big one here that is kind of upsetting for at least probably Vic. I know he's been aching for this shit. Ubisoft, so X Defiant, that's delayed until September, October due to being rejected by PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, that was a sad one there. This is probably the only one I'm gonna comment on. Other ones you can just rattle off, but it was just delayed because like this is a brand new IP and like the game like Xbox and PlayStation has like a certain quality control and like they want to make sure this game comes out and it's released in a good state where you don't have to constantly update it right away. And apparently that you don't realize like how hard it is to implement like new versions of the game because like they did a beta and they actually used the beta to make changes to the game. So then for became a new IP because it wasn't the same as the original before the beta. So it's a process that makes games a little bit more complicated.
That's fucking so red tapey, but
Yeah.
that's so much fucking red tape.
Yeah.
But it is saying a lot when you look at Xbox and PlayStation and their quality control is like
Terrible.
no. When their QC team goes, we don't want that yet.
Mm, but here's
they'll keep
Redfall.
that.
But here's
You can keep
Redfall.
but here's fucking Redfall.
Yeah.
like
If that's the
outrageous.
quality, it's just as you said earlier, it's these CEOs that are like, push it.
That's an
Would I
interesting
rather-
question, Anthony. Would I rather have Call of Duty with an N64 controller from now on? Fuck no. That is a very discombobulated controller, and there's only one joystick. So good luck
I
aiming
could
and
I
moving.
could just hear the chalkiness on the joystick just getting fucking rattled after one match, or like just absolutely just snapping off because you can't turn fast enough.
I would,
Or COD now has GoldenEye graphics.
I would take that an 8-bit like COD game. That'd be lit. Actually,
I would. Okay, first off, I would play GoldenEye now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's on Game
on
Pass, so
the
you can.
N64. Fuck yes, and especially if you have the big head mod, that shit was fun. Still no Odd Job though. Odd Job is banned. But moving on here with the rest of our dates and delays, so we got EA Sports World Rally Championship coming out November 3rd. And then Alone in the Dark reboot, that's getting delayed until January 16th to avoid. This is a good call. It's to avoid the Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2
Smart people.
release windows. That's the smartest thing you could have done.
Yeah, because that would
honestly,
have
you
been
would've-
swept under the rug. No
You
one
would
knew
have
it
got fucking
existed.
buried. You would have got buried and nobody would have known your name. So good call on that. And then Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader gets a December 7th, 2023 release date. So here in just about 2 months, 3 months.
That's the Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader CRPG. That's
Yes.
it's the is Baldur's Gate going to have a competitor this year?
Okay.
We'll see if this is any good.
I mean, maybe we'll see. We'll see, but I'll let you know.
Releasing a CRPG in the same year as Baldur's Gate 3. That's
That's
big
ballsy.
cojones.
Well,
That's
at least
ballsy.
they're releasing this one where it can't be in contention for the same game of the year. It can be in contention for
exactly.
next year's game of the year.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll just like get smart and like push it, be like, oh no, another delay, and then bam, January 1st, 2024. Fucking bam, right there, Rogue Trader CRPG.
So that's all of our gaming news. We do got a little bit of leaks and rumors to get to, so let's go ahead and check those out. All right, Scott, if you want to kick it off with the, I think the big one this week.
Yeah, so Rockstar here we have is selling pirated copies of games on Steam.
Yeah. Did you read the full article on this? I
So,
can kind of
I
elaborate.
didn't read the full article on this because I was more really gonna hit into the GTA 6 and the one that I really am excited.
I'll cover that if you want to come back around.
Yeah, so Grand Theft Auto 6, Joe Rogan's podcast is set to be on the in-game radio. So there's some voice recordings from the CEO of Rockstar allegedly leaks the reveal and launch dates as well. So Joe Rogan on the radio and leaks for the reveal and the launch. The reveal October 23, 2023, and then launch would be October 2024. You heard it here first, folks.
That's big time, honestly.
That's pretty big time, yeah.
Yeah, if we're looking at next year, it's coming out right at the end of the year. It'll be in talks for the game of the year then next year.
For sure.
It honestly, what is I want to know what we're going to be doing with GTA Online. You know, with
It's-
with
Hopefully they
GTA
carry it
Online
over.
being so big, I'm hoping that we get a nice meshing between, GTA 5 and GTA 6 GTA Online.
Yeah. And it's going to be nice with that October 2024 release date because it's got that 3-month cushion at the end, but it's not early enough to where it can get forgotten about.
Yeah.
So I could see that. I could see that coming up real hard on 2024. But moving on from there, Red Dead Redemption 3 officially is in the works according to a claim via a leak from at My Time to Shine H on Twitter, who recently reported a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy is in development. So this is 2 leaks from this individual that are
We're
big
pretty
if true.
Yeah, but say he's pretty credible
Big if
according
true.
to the gaming industry. So I was like, we'll see if this is actually 100% true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And to loop back around here, so Rockstar decided to sell Midnight Club on Steam. And so the original copy they sold for Midnight Club had DRM software built in it for PC so that you couldn't, distribute the copy of the
You mean
game.
that game that's right
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. So the PC
there.
version had DRM to prevent it from being, copied, sent to other people and stuff. It had to be secured some way. So they were using a third-party DRM software and not Steam. And so that software that they had broke the game on PC. It was unplayable on PC because of the DRM. Yeah, okay. So you're following. So what happened is the modding community took this game because they knew the DRM software. They knew how to cut it from the game so that games would be playable, because there were many other games with this DRM software that made it 100% unplayable. Many games. And one of the guys who wrote the mod to remove the DRM software had put his own little bit inside of the code of the game to say, hey, I fixed the
That's
game
actually
for
pretty
you.
funny.
You're welcome. And so they re-released Midnight Club, and it was playable on PC without the DRM software installed anymore. So
Someone looked at
you
the
look,
source code.
the source code they looked at showed the DRM removal by the guy who did it, and he goes, hey guys, so it turns out Rockstar took my copy of their game, pirated it from me, took my code,
They
and
pirated
sold it.
his pirated version.
Sold it. Congratulations, you played yourself.
So it turns out that Rockstar literally just took some dude's code to fix their game and just used it and sold it.
I guess they legally can because like he did
Yeah, I
something
was
that
gonna
wasn't
say, is
legally
that-
allowed to either. So
Well, he modded the game. Did he distribute the game? Because that was the thing. He removed the DRM software. He didn't distribute it. He owned the game at that point. Like,
yeah, there's a
As
lot
we
of gray
know,
area. It's a lot of gray
As you
gray
know,
area.
all pirating is perfectly legal.
it's proof is in the pudding kind of thing here, and we have no proof. So,
right.
but
Interesting.
let's talk about PlayStation leaks and rumors. So, Horizon Forbidden West, the complete edition, was spotted on ratings boards, so we know that it did get rated. So we know that the game is coming. There is a complete edition because it counts as a separate game, but it also showed that it should be coming to PC as well. So we're going to be getting both the first and the second Horizon games on PC now. So are we getting to the point that PlayStation is just going to put their whole collection on PC?
Yeah, like 6 months to a year later. Yeah, I think that's the game plan. Maybe even
Yeah.
longer.
But Vic, why don't you round us out here with gaming leaks and rumors before the end of the show?
Yeah, man. So Gotham Knights, which is a game that I still have yet to get to. I do want to eventually check it out, even though it wasn't the greatest game, but it wasn't a terrible game according to the reviews. But it's got a rating for the Nintendo Switch over on the rating boards in North America. So a game that was only supposed to be for next-gen consoles, the PS5 and the Series X and X, is now also coming to the Switch, which is interesting.
But it might be hosted online.
Right,
Switch
yeah. It could be the cloud-based version of the game, or it's for the new Nintendo Switch or whatever they decide to call it, because that could be right around the corner. Because there was a lot of speculation that we could have got the new announcement at the most recent Nintendo Direct,
Yeah.
like as early as that, because we
Because
just know.
everyone has the dev kits.
Yeah, and plus they were showcasing it at Gamescom, so
Mhm.
it's any time now. Next up here for Mass Effect, according to Jez Corden from Windows Central, the next Mass Effect is ditching the open world and going back to the classic format. So I guess they went to an open world format in Andromeda, would be my guess, because I didn't play that one yet. I played through the trilogy, really enjoyed that, but they're going to go back to the original trilogy's format, which I loved, the greatest of all time.
Smart move.
Makes
Smart
sense.
Yeah.
And because like I really enjoyed it, like you had like an open world feel because you can go to pretty much like any planet at any given moment, kind of like how you can do in Starfield
But they were
already.
story locked, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like you could just go to the final planet at any time.
Right. And it was just like you could once you land on the planet, it was like a pretty linear path that had like oh I can go up the stairs here or I can go straight or like you know what I mean. It wasn't like open
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So that's awesome there. And then some sad news here. Apparently, Wild Hearts, which is the game from EA Originals, is reportedly ending support after only 7 months. And I thought this game was doing really well. Apparently not. This is kind of like a Monster
Live
Hunter
service.
the live service
We talk
Monster Hunter
about
game.
live service games.
Every time something like this is brought up, live service games.
They're dead.
Why?
They're dead.
Why? Why are you live servicing games that don't need to be live service games?
No, I
And
definitely
why are the
agree with
games-
you, Toph.
Why are the games that should be live service not
Not
fucking
live.
live service? NBA 2K, the 2K series, all of you.
Which that's a whole nother topic to talk about because this 2K is one of the actually worst rated games on Steam this year. A whole nother topic. But yeah, Toph, Andromeda, I did hear it did a lot of great things in a lot of great areas, but like if the story isn't there in the Mass Effect game, they kind of just like become
That's not
shitty.
why you play Mass Effect.
Yeah.
You play for the story.
Because like Mass Effect 3 like or any of the Mass Effect originals like I hated the whole cover and having to go behind cover to then jump over the wall and it was just like the sprinting was kind of like hold A to sprint like there was a lot of issues with that game but like I really thoroughly enjoyed the world building the connections with the characters and then the story overall was just really good but Andromeda just seemed to drop the ball in all of
My
those
man said he
categories.
likes smashing the other characters. That's all he's good at.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that is all of the leaks and rumors and everything we do got for you guys this week. So we want to thank everyone who did check us out live today here on Twitch and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And Roger, where can the community find you at?
You can find me at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion. Not really streaming right now, but if you can also find us on our Discord servers.
Yes, sir. And what about you, Scott?
As always, you can find me on twitch.tv/Scoby1 if I do find some time and I feel like I want to stream. Not very often. So what you can also do is you just get a hold of me on Discord at Scoby1. Or if you want to go play some games in Warzone, anything like that, you can hit me on my BattleNet Scoby1. My numbers are 11780 there. And if you just kind of want to take a little peek into my personal life, see what I'm up to, see what I'm doing, you can always follow me on Instagram at Scoby1. And I do want to point out one thing here. We have another question in chat. Asking how long do we think Nintendo keeps using cartridge-based games with the expansion of broadband gaming and cloud gaming? Do you think the Switch will go with a version like the Xbox has, the Nintendo Switch Series S, if that doesn't already exist? My answer, no. The Switch is made to be mobile, made to be played in places where you might not have internet, and I think that that relies very, very heavily on the cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
And especially considering if you have downloaded games, you might need updates, things like that. So that cartridge is really the key to what I would say is the Switch's biggest selling point.
Yeah, and also the fact that like discs, we've already seen it in the Walkman. Like discs don't work well on the go, so like, and with a console, especially with Nintendo being the Go console, as you said, Scoby, it's either cartridge or you have to load it onto the hard drive itself. And I'll be honest, it only takes a little bit of jiggling, and all of a sudden my SD card comes loose, and the Switch goes, "Oh, goodbye," and shuts down. Even in the middle of a game, it's just like,
Doesn't
"Sorry,
exist.
sir."
Hey, it's been a
Sorry.
blast. It's been a blast. Have fun.
Signing
Nintendo
off.
Switch 6G cellular. I would love to see if the Nintendo went with a cellular, or if they got like some deal with Verizon and AT&T where you could just add your Switch to your plan. That'd be pretty fucking dope. But I don't know if what I would say basically it would effectively act as a subscription to your internet on the Switch. I don't know
So-
if that would be.
It would be, you'd need Switch Online, and you'd also need to buy games
Yeah.
potentially, and you would also need your cell service. So like,
Yeah. It's
And
similar to how the
6G
iPad works because like you can buy a Wi-Fi only iPad and then you can buy the Wi-Fi plus cellular version of
You can
the
buy a
iPad.
Wi-Fi puck or something like that, treat it as
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, and 6G only works if you've had the third COVID booster anyway. So
You are the 6G. Oh, that's
you're
great.
the 6G. Finally, we found it. The
Oh.
6G.
There it is. But
We've been waiting.
everyone, you can find me at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _ Threads is at Mr. Never Chillin. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or if you want to come on the show, hit me up there. And I stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin, where I'm currently basically streaming Starfield whenever I do play. So come hang out there and follow my journey. But we do want to thank everyone again, and if anyone wants to come through, make sure you join us in our after show channel in our Discord here to continue any conversations, or if you have any more awesome, great questions, come join us there. But we want to thank everyone again, and until next time, peace.
Restart Podcast.